Hi guys, it's Roxanne from Tiny Home Living. Well, I am back from Ontario, as you can see. So I thought I better get an update video done. Seems like that's all I do instead of just videos, update videos. But a lot going on, and there's a lot of growth. I was only gone 2 weeks, it seemed like a month. But anyway, everything's out of control here. But one bit of good news, it looks like we might actually get one cherry pie out of this sour cherry tree this year. Maybe. So that's exciting. A lot of firsts, like I mentioned in earlier videos this year. This one, I think maybe because of the shock of me taking that big branch off it last year, we have like one cherry. There's another one here that's not ripened. But anyway, really happy with the growth. Like I said, this seems to be the only apple tree we're going to get apples off this year, and they're doing great. But before I get going with the update on the garden and the plants and the food and the chickens, yeah, I'm sure you're all wondering how Chris is doing. I was very apprehensive about leaving him. You know, like I said, I really needed to be in two places at once. I was worried about leaving him alone. And more so after, oh, the grasshoppers are absolutely insane. Like usually the chickens keep them totally under control, but you can see they're eating the raspberry bushes. We got actually a few raspberries. I didn't, you know, we're not going to get much to speak of. My sister's getting buckets and buckets and buckets of raspberries off hers, but again, this is the first year we're seeing anything, so that's exciting too. But I mentioned that earlier. Anyway, Chris had his pacemaker. Well, at the last minute they decided to do a defibrillator with pacemaker capabilities. Don't know why they made that decision at the last minute, but they did. I don't know what day it was because all the days are blurred. We had so much to do with my mom's funeral and everything, service and everything. Chris was out here watering the trees and the defibrillator shocked him. So he was pretty scared. He said it felt like getting kicked in the chest. And this was my fear, right? This was my big fear, is that, yeah, it's fine. Everybody says, oh, it's no big deal. A pacemaker is, you know, it's day surgery. It's a piece of cake. Yeah, if nothing happens. So he called our neighbor Bob, and he had an emergency number to call, so he called that, went to the hospital in town, and they transferred him by ambulance to Edmonton. They didn't seem to know why it shocked him, even the guy that installed it, which is a little concerning. And so I guess they ended up adjusting it and adjusting one of his meds. Now, you know, this is before he'd even had his first shower, the incision still hasn't healed. So, I mean, he's fine physically, but I think the problem is the anxiety now of it happening again. Like I said, he said it was like being kicked in the chest, and he's very thin and lost a lot of weight to begin with, so I think he's more anxious than anything now. I just checked the strawberries. I think the deer have been eating them, and he said he hasn't even walked out there because he's, you know, like I said, anxious about going too far from the house and maybe not making it back to the house. So anyway, that's a little concerning, but he's doing well. You know, we're trying to get him to rest as much as possible. Two of the meat birds were dying from the heat, we think, so he had the neighbors come over before they died and butcher them so they wouldn't go to waste. The rhubarb's looking pretty peaked. It has been extremely hot. But we did get a couple days of rain. We got a couple of rains, which is really good. One of them was an inch of rain. I see my gooseberries are doing super well, and of course my feet are just dragging through the grass here. The grass needs to be mowed. Everything needs to be mowed. The weeds are insane. I think I'm gonna get this. Oh, these thistles just pick you everywhere. I think I'm gonna get this fence taken down. This is a real nuisance not being able to cut through here. Look at my buffs. They're getting so big. And of course it's too soon to tell how many roosters I got. What's going on? Well, that's one of the hens squawking, so I still think they're laying eggs somewhere else. Chris says he's getting 6 to 8 a day. That's not enough. Should be getting at least 10. I guess Chris put this up here because the hens kept going. Are you guys laying eggs down there? Silly chickens. Yeah, I haven't collected the eggs yet today, so I gotta get that done. What are you guys doing in there? Just staying cool? That's the poor hen with no feathers. The lady that's gonna take a couple of the roosters called, but I was already in Ontario, so gotta get that done too. Get Barney and Desi gone. And I gotta check with the lady that wanted Fred to see if she still wants her. Otherwise, I'm gonna get all 3 of them gone. Now these guys, I'm still no good at telling what's a rooster and what's a hen. The kids over at the neighbors are probably better at it than me. I think that's a hen, but and a bunch of them. I'm gonna get some really pretty chickens out of this bunch. Oh, they're still acting terrified. So yeah, the Americanas, there's some really pretty ones in here, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna get some more hens than roosters. Look at that, they're so beautiful. They're all kind of unique. Oh, look at that white one. I like that one. And there's sort of a more white and black one. Very, very different. So those are my green egg layers. Not sure. Oh, yeah. That one looks like it has blue legs over there. That's weird. But yeah, if you look at the legs, sometimes the thickness of the legs kind of gives it away too. The really thick legs are usually the roosters. And then you pick them up, they peck more. So anyway, fingers crossed. We'll probably be another month before we can even start to tell what we've got for hens and roosters. So, but these guys are all doing well. You can see above my head here, Chris has strung netting over the entire run to protect these guys. And he thinks he might have winged the hawk. So that would be good if keep that thing from coming back. Once it got one of the babies, it was going to keep coming back for sure. Oh, I see they've dug a hole here after me trying so hard to keep them from doing that. Now, I put some of our corn in the row here. It's too close to the fence to get the tiller in, so look at the difference between the soil that has the compost added every year and the soil at the edge of the garden that you can't get close to. That is a massive difference. So it just goes to show you now, if you were a commercial farmer, you would just spray the crap out of this to make it grow. And look at this, add compost every year and this is what you get from your soil. Like, that's a pretty stark difference, and again, a good learning thing for us, right? I really didn't think there'd be that much of a difference if I put these ones in the edge of the garden like this to save space. I think it's this row over here, the tallest ones, maybe both. Yeah, I think there is quite a few on there too that we have to pick peas off of today. This was the last row, I believe. And then after we get the chickens done, I'll get in here and start pruning these tomatoes. Spinach is pretty much a write-off, but what I might do is we're talking about leaving the garden fabric down this fall, and I think I might plant garlic in these holes, and then I just won't plant anything in it in the spring, and I think that'll work really, really well. And I don't know, there's probably about 50 holes, so I think that'll be enough for us. So, the greenhouse, look at all the blossoms. on my one lime tree, and this one here is getting covered in blossoms too. This is that, oh my goodness, look at the giant grasshopper on that. Look at the chickens to come in here and clean house. So everything's doing pretty good in here. These pots, I don't know what it is. I got these at Lee Valley. They have nothing has ever grown well in these. And they have the trays underneath so the water can drain. I just don't understand. Nothing I have ever planted in those things has done well. These are all the peppers. The jalapenos, you could barely see them when I left. These ones are really tall and skinny, kind of weird. These ones are getting a little out of control. And again, they're going outside the cage, so I got to get that fixed. Look at the cantaloupe. I'm going to have to watch a video on pruning the vines on cantaloupes because this is totally out of control. That's the cucumbers that we're hoping to keep growing all winter. I don't think this stuff has been getting watered enough, but again, dragging the hoses around is heavy, and that's what Chris had been doing when he got shocked, so I'm going to have to get caught up with this too. So, anyway, the herbs are doing good, my basil's doing good. Yes, I'm experimenting with this, what do they call it? Electroculture something or other. So, yeah, everything's doing good in here. Needs to be watered, everything needs to be watered, everything needs to be weeded. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might have to put another cage out here for these things to grow onto, but definitely need to be pruned. And I don't need the darn grasshoppers getting in here, that's for sure. Well, Chris is down for a nap, so it looks like it's up to me to pick peas. So I'm going to go through all three rows and see what I can get. I'm excited about eating fresh peas. I don't know how many will actually make it to the freezer or the freeze dryer. Well, that's all I got off this one row, but I spent more time sort of weaving the vines into the fence a little bit better. They're all kind of hanging heavy on this side, and they end up pulling the fence over like they did last year. So there's lots of peas, but there wasn't as many that are past it like Chris was worried about. So that's good. What I'm going to do, I'm going to label these ones because these peas in this row are tiny. So I don't know if that's because I'm picking them too soon. I think the pods are smaller, so I'm going to label these, and I'm not even going to blanch these, they're so small. The other pods look a lot bigger, so that this row and the other row might be the same kind, like they're bigger peas. That might be like the Alaska. And I don't like putting the little ones and the big ones all together and blanching them because then some end up mushing. So I'm going to label these ones, and I'll freeze these separately. Anyway guys, just a quick update. I'm sure everybody was curious after the last video. Saying goodbye to my mom was hard, but in a way it was a huge relief. I had prayed every day for so long that, you know, she would go home and be with her family, and I know she's at peace now and not living the way she was, which was no way to live. So anyway, I'm distracted because there is a bee carrying a dead fly in here. Looks like a hornet, not a bee. Anyway, I'm easily distracted, aren't I? So just signing off, quick update. Hope everybody is well out there. We're doing okay. It's going to be a struggle. Another year that's going to be a struggle, but you know, we've got a lot of blessings. We've got a lot of friends, neighbors, and help, and when we need it, and so we can count our blessings there too. Anyway, I'm done for today. Hope you're all well, and we will see you next time.